Greece debt crisis. Eurozone sets final deadline for new plan. The Eurozone has given Greece until Thursday to present new proposals to secure a deal with creditors, and has called a full EU summit for Sunday. European Council President Donald Tusk said this was now the most critical moment in the history of the Eurozone. The final deadline ends this week, he said after emergency talks in Brussels. The Eurozone had expected Greece to submit fresh plans on Tuesday after its voters rejected a deal in a referendum, but no new proposals were tabled. On Sunday, a meeting of all 28 members of the EU will be held, the day after the new Greek proposals are expected to be discussed by the Eurozone finance ministers. In Brussels, Greece has been given an ultimatum. Either there will be a deal or Greece and its banks face the prospect of going bust on Monday, the BBC's Chris Morris in the Belgian capital reports. Greek lavish lifestyles on hold in Athens. Yes, neighborhood Greece crisis. Latest updates. Preston, a shockingly bleak assessment. Fast process. Speaking at a news conference late on Tuesday, Mr. Tusk said the Greek bankruptcy and the collapse of the Greek banking system would affect the whole of Europe, and that anyone who thought otherwise was naive. French President François Hollande said, "It's not just the problem of Greece, it's the future of the European Union that is at stake." Meanwhile, Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras said he wanted a socially just and economically viable agreement. The process will be fast. It starts in the coming hours with the aim of concluding it by the end of the week, at the latest, he said. Mr. Tsipras is due to address the European Parliament in Strasbourg later on Wednesday. Null analysis. Chris Morris, BBC Europe correspondent. Over dinner this evening, Greek PM Alexis Tsipras told his fellow leaders what he wants to achieve in the wake of his victory in the Greek referendum. The suggestion is that he will agree to many but not all of the demands for reform which have been made by Greece's creditors. Some of them he had previously rejected. But he wants much more in return: a third bailout from the Eurozone, some sort of agreement on restructuring his country's huge public debt, and more measures to encourage economic growth. There is huge pressure on the Greek government because both the state and the banking system in Greece are on the verge of running out of money. But there is also pressure on other Eurozone leaders. Mr. Tusk said this was perhaps the most critical moment in the history of the single currency and of the EU itself. Null German Chancellor Angela Merkel said the Eurozone leaders had had a serious, candid discussion in Brussels that reflected the seriousness of the situation at hand. She said the leaders obviously respect the results of the referendum but added, as regards the euro, we don't have the sovereignty of just one country to contend with, but of 18. Shared sovereignty, shared